Self-identification comes from knowing our history, our family, our past, and our life. But when we're a dementia resident in a dementia unit with a large amount of memory loss, then that identification diminishes, especially if our family doesn't visit that much. Then we start to identify then with the staff at the dementia unit and the residents that live there. And of course, that's good if everything there is good, if the cares are good, if the staff are nice, if the food is delicious, if it's warm, if you've got a nice room and everything's in place, then you can actually integrate into a dementia unit, make friends both with the staff and the residents, and have a good quality of life. But it's not that dementia residents forget about their family. They still know they have a family. But if that family visits regularly and supports them in their new community, then there can be a positive integration. But of course, it's different. It's a vast range of visiting spectrums that happen. Just to give you an example of a few that I've witnessed working in dementia units. Okay, so good example. There was a gentleman who was younger, in his 60s. His wife was very supportive. No, sorry, he was late 60s. So he was young. His wife was very supportive. He was very depressed. And he'd had a very fit, active, athletic life. So it was, very difficult for him. It's always more difficult if you're younger, fit and active, being enclosed in a dementia unit. But his wife was really supportive. She said to me actually one day, she said, whatever he needs, I'll do my best, the best that I can, to provide that. So she was loving, committed, supportive. She'd take him out on lots of outings, lots of trips. So he got out of the facility. He didn't feel trapped. And the good thing that she did, and this really is the best way I've found for relatives, friends and family with dementia residents, she integrated. She integrated with the unit. She made friends with the other dementia residents, especially those that were friends of her husband. She joined in the activities. She came up with activities for her husband that she knew he'd like. She bought in, jigsaw puzzles and books on classic cars and race horses and things that she knew he'd like to flick through. And she'd sit with him and with his new friends that he'd made at the dementia unit, have a cup of tea. She bought in cakes and scones. Everyone could join in. And she integrated in with the community and with the staff. And everyone really liked her. And because of that, because she normalized it for her husband, she visited regularly and she became part of his new community. He settled in. He really settled in. His depression lifted, and he even became assertive, confident. His confidence really lifted. And once his confidence lifted, his speech improved. He started communicating clearly and became assertive enough to be a voice for the group. So that's an ideal, absolutely ideal arrangement. Now, in terms of other relatives visiting and dementia residents being able to get that integration and identify both with their own family and their new dementia family, there was one visitor. He was a son of one of the women, elderly woman, early 80s, Alzheimer's, at the unit. And he was good. He visited regularly. Well, every weekend he'd visit, sometimes in the week, and he'd bring the dog along and, share that with the other dementia residents. They loved seeing that lovely little dog. So he was good in the unit, but he didn't take his mother out for walks, and she was fit and athletic, really strong, and she wanted to get out. So that was a limiting point. But he did visit regularly. He was friendly with the other relatives, and he did integrate with the unit. That helped his mother also integrate with the unit because of her son's acceptance of it. So that was a plus. But she did get very anxious because she couldn't go out walking outside, what she wanted to do. So she did have that cortisol and anxiety, because she felt trapped. So she got half the equation, probably more than half the equation, because he helped her integrate in the unit, but she wasn't able to get outside, which was, limiting for her. Now, another example is of this one lady that came in. She was a school teacher and quite settled, but her husband used to come to the activities and say, I haven't got dementia, don't ask me questions, I don't want to be included. Oh, and her son was actually the same. When he came to visit, he just sort of whipped her away and wanted nothing to do with us, either the activity coordinator, the staff, or the residents. So happy enough to see the mother, but didn't want anything to do with the fact that she had dementia, other people had dementia, or indeed she was in a dementia unit. So denial, I suppose you'd say, was probably the name of the game there. But she was actually a strong woman and coped quite well. But it would have been nice if the family had been able to integrate a little more in with the unit, and at least accept the fact that she was in a dementia unit and smile and wave to the other residents. But everyone has their own way. Everyone has their own way of dealing with this. Everyone has their own perspective. But the main thing is for the dementia resident to integrate in with the community, because that's where they're living, isn't it? 24/7, 7 days a week. This is their new life. They need to integrate, have any quality of life. So as much as possible, if the relatives, their family can help with that, it definitely helps with quality of life, confidence and communication and making friends. So all of these stories, all of these examples, these techniques are in the 2 books I've written, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise. Thank you for your interest, looks and likes, and please subscribe.